You're listening to the Never Heard of It podcast,
a Night Shift Radio original. Every week we bring you the good,
the bad,
the weird,
and lesser known streaming movies.
Hit subscribe for new episodes every Thursday and Sunday. Because we said on the count of three, and then in my head I had to be like, no, counting backwards, do it right. But in my head I was counting up to three, but at the same time down from three.
Is it on three
was
or
a mess.
after three?
On three. Why can't we get this? You know what's great? I love the fact that we just will randomly quote things like obscure quotes from the movie Pitch Perfect. And it's great. And I hope that anybody watching this is also fans, or watching or listening to this are also fans of Pitch Perfect, and they pick up on those jokes.
I love those movies so much.
Bumper in Berlin is out.
Really?
Do you know about Bumper in Berlin?
I knew that it was supposed to happen, but that was
it's out as of the airing of this episode, I believe.
You're shitting me.
I might be, because I thought it was November, but it could be December.
Pitch Perfect, Bumper in Berlin, new series, November 23rd. So that is
so it is out.
Days from when we are recording this.
Yes, but a week or so ago from when you guys are listening and watching to this episode.
Oh.
Yeah, Bumper in Berlin, written by Megan Amram, who's the showrunner. She's been a writer for a lot of great things, including Parks and Rec and The Good Place and some other great things.
Speaking of The Good Place, Jamila Jamil's in it. Your favorite?
Jamila Jamil? Yeah, I love Jamila Jamil. She's great.
I know you do.
Yeah. Which I just learned, Jamila Jamil, who was in The Good Place, she was in She-Hulk, she's was in this. She lives with her boyfriend and two roommates. And I think that's really interesting. Because it's one of those things where you just automatically assume that all actors are rich, right? But they're not.
There's a certain threshold where I begin automatically assuming that, but at the Pitch Perfect level, I still don't feel that way. I still feel like most of them are at best they've got a decent apartment on their own. That's best case scenario. More likely they're probably still rooming.
They're probably still rooming up.
Although hold up with four people, God damn it, someone give Jamila Jamil some money because she deserves her privacy.
She does. Her and her boyfriend deserve to live on their own and do their life. But I'm really excited. I think she's great. I'm very excited to see her in Bumper in Berlin. But also I'm excited because, Bumper wasn't my favorite character from the Pitch Perfect movies. But I'm excited for more of that universe because it's Bumper and the guy from Dust Sound Machine.
Flula Borg.
Is the two main... Yeah, Flula Borg, who are the two main characters of this show. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, give me anything with Flula Borg and I'm going to be happy. But if you're going to do an offshoot series with lesser characters, you could do worse than Adam Devine and Flula Borg.
Yeah, great I love Adam Devine anyways. He's been in some good movies and he's funny. Workaholics was funny,
Yeah.
So I'm totally down.
The only bummer is Utkarsh Ambedkar is probably a little too busy with Ghost right now to come back as Donald. But Bumper and Donald as a spinoff would have been funny as well.
Would have also been really good, yeah, where they meet up later. I think this is a good, though. I like the idea of him and Das Sound Machine and hooking up in Germany, and it's him in Berlin.
Yep.
And I think that's pretty interesting. I think it's going to be really cool. Megan Amram is one of those writers and producers that I trust that she's going to make a good show. Just based on the other things that she's done. So obviously we haven't seen it yet as of recording this because, it comes out in 4 days. But a lot is coming out in a couple of days. So
it's true.
We've got that. We've got Wednesday on Netflix. The Wednesday Addams series comes out that same day.
Yeah.
What else? There's a couple of other things that I think all land right around that same day.
I don't know exactly what day yet, but sometime in this coming month of December, as you and I were literally just talking about, I am super excited for the third and final season of His Dark Materials to hit HBO Max. Right. My subscription is currently on pause until that comes out, at which point I am going to sign up and binge that. And there's a couple other series that are either we didn't get to before we hit pause or have new seasons or have aired since. So I'm gonna dig deep into that world again for a little bit before maybe playing a little 3 card Monte with my streaming services throughout the winter time. But yeah, I'm super super looking forward to that. There was was on is the Witcher season on Netflix also coming this December?
The
Season
blood,
3?
the blood origin, not season 3, but the blood origin one
spin-off.
with Michelle Yeoh,
Okay.
the spin-off one, which is a prequel
Yeah.
to the Witcher series. That one is in December as well. But I forgot the other one that's happening in November is the Willow series.
Oh, that's right.
Is November 30th. Yep. Yeah, so the Willow series, because I gotta go back and watch Willow.
That'll be Disney Plus, right?
Again. That's Disney
Yeah,
Plus. Yep.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
god, Willow! What a great show. I still think about the giant Willow poster I had in my bedroom growing up.
Yeah.
And like
that was one of those VHS. It was Willow, Return of the Jedi, and Caravan of Courage were the 3 films that I rotated like on repeat when I was a kid.
It was the Disney Robin Hood, Secret of Nim, and some old He-Man episodes for me.
Yeah.
Specifically the one where they meet Chakotay.
Shapoopy.
It's Shapoopy. It's Chakotay, you fool. I barely remember Willow as a film, being perfectly honest, but having that poster on my wall, it just cemented it as such an important part of my childhood that like now I really just can't fucking wait to see how they handle that. It's been a really, really interesting time the last, we'll say, 5 to 10 years for fantasy on television.
Yeah.
I almost, and it like I still going to. The only reason I hesitated because I just didn't feel the emotional investment in starting like a high fantasy series. But like I almost started the Wheel of Time series last night.
It's really good.
But going back a few episodes, I don't remember which because November was a very jumbled month for us.
Sorry.
Hey, it happens. It's fine. Where was I going? Oh, if you remember a few weeks ago or last week or maybe, I don't know, a year ago, who the fuck knows at this point, I said that I would probably pick up and start watching Good Omens. We did that last night. We got the first couple episodes done. What a fun show.
Yeah, I mean, I love David Tennant, and what's the guy's name? The other one?
I cannot remember his name either. Like I know him, but I always think of him as just like super blonde, fucking Simon Pegg.
Yeah, that's who I always think. I always think like Simon Pegg. No, but like Simon Pegg.
Yeah. Michael Sheen. That's right.
Michael Sheen. That's right.
It's kind of got like if you took like a face swap app and combined Simon Pegg and Rowan Atkinson.
Yeah, no, 100%. That is like perfect. What it would be because it is really freaking close between them. Because I don't know what it. I mean, I know he rolls in that same sort of crew. You know, like that whatever that crew is. But like, I think that's why I get them mixed up. I mean, not Rowan Atkinson, but Simon Pegg.
It was fun to find out that John Hamm and drawing a blank. Nick Offerman were in it as well.
I didn't know that.
When Ellen saw it was David Tennant, John Hamm, and Nick Offerman, she's like, "Oh, my 3 favorite white guys."
Yeah. I love Nick Offerman. He's great. Yeah.
But yeah, just a fun series. I admittedly have not read any Pratchett that I can recall. I feel like I must have at some point in my youth, but I don't remember for sure. So I'm going to err on the side of I probably didn't. And I recognize that's a hole in my literary experience, but I know enough about him to recognize a lot of his stylistic influence. But I think mostly it just feels very Neil Gaiman, which we've already talked about. I love Neil Gaiman. I love his storytelling. And it fits so well into a completely unconnected, but in my mind, loosely intertwined Neil Gaiman cinematic universe. Thinking of like Stardust and Neverwhere and the Sandman, et cetera, like all these different, Coraline, these different, Gaiman properties that have made it to the screen, that have somehow all managed to hold on to like Neil Gaiman's personality.
The Neil Gaiman having written Coraline is one of those facts that I always forget. So like I like when I hear it, I'm like, I knew that, but oh, that's so cool. Like I knew that it was a thing.
Coraline.
They Might Be Giants. That's yeah. So fun fact about that: They Might Be Giants actually wrote the entire soundtrack for that.
I believe that.
And they only ended up using that one bit because they said that everything else was too batshit insane.
I also believe that.
And I think that's really great that they only ended up using that one song, but they wrote like a bunch, like they wrote like an album's worth of songs for the movie and all the stuff. And they were like, we can't use this. Yeah. This is insane. And I think that's really interesting.
But yeah, he's just such a great storyteller. And I mean, I got to imagine Terry Pratchett has been famous for decades for a reason. And so I've just really, really enjoying the first couple episodes. Speaking of things that I really enjoyed, we also sat down and watched Crush, finally, the latest American High film.
The American High film, yeah.
And I know, well, it is established, never heard of it canon, how much of a rom-com fan you are and how much I really am not. But I have...
I got to challenge that, Caleb, because the last few episodes you have mentioned rom-coms you have really enjoyed. I think you like them a lot more than you like to admit.
I don't care for the genre as a whole, but every now and then I find a really good story that flips some of the tropes or like plays them differently. And it's usually, honestly, it tends to be the casting and the writing that get me. Like, I'm not going to sit down and watch a rom-com for the sake of watching a rom-com. But specifically in this case, I got to say, like, I have enjoyed every American High film that I've seen so far. I have not seen one that I didn't. And like, you know, knowing the basic plot of this one, I was like, yep, well, like we should sit down and we'll watch it. It should be fun. It was the sweetest thing.
It is,
and I did not expect to feel feelings, and I did, and I'm angry about it.
I'm mad about feelings.
But no, it was very, very fun. And this coming from the perspective of like, I guessed the entire plot within roughly the first scene or two. It was incredibly predictable to me, but at the same time, I loved how it played out. It maybe that's because like I wrote the movie in my head from like just the like 2 minutes worth of information, and the story they gave me was the movie I wrote in my head.
So you were like, this is exact. Yeah, I mean, you know, for the most part, that is what all rom-coms are, though. Like, you know that they end up together in the end. You know, you can predict it, and then such is the case with hero films as well. Mm-hmm, you know, like you know the hero is going to win in the end. You know the general idea. Like you know where films are going. For the most part, most movies you watch, I would say, like, I would even venture to say 90% of the movies most people watch, you know where it's going to go. You have it, even if you're like, I don't know how they're going to get there, but this is the ending of this movie, you know, and very rarely that 1 out of 10 times you're going to get that moment where it's not the movie, you know, something happens and it doesn't end the way you thought it did. Mm-hmm. But you know where movies go, especially at this point. There's so many of them.
It's funny because a few nights ago we were watching something, I don't remember what, and Ellen immediately started speculating, and I was just like, shut up and watch the movie.
Like, I know as much information as you know.
It's like, oh, it's this person, or maybe this person, and like, you need to stop it. But then we sat down to watch this movie, and like, I'm calling myself out here. Within the first couple minutes, I was like, oh, I get it. Like, so and so was the one doing the thing. I won't spoil any details about the film because I think you should go watch it. And she's like, what? I was like, I get it. Shut up and watch the movie. She's like, what?
I had one of those moments. I just watched a movie called The Wonder starring Florence Pugh.
Okay.
That's also on Hulu. Great movie. The movie is Florence Pugh is a nurse in 1860s Ireland. She is sent to care after a child who seemingly has not eaten in 4 months, but is perfectly healthy. So she has to she's sent to investigate and watch this child for 2 weeks to confirm whether or not she is miraculously living without food. And that is a movie that I completely predicted. However, I will say the beginning and ending of that movie is some of the craziest and weirdest choices of a movie film that I have ever seen in my life, and I still don't understand it. The very last thing that happens in that movie, I'm just like, but who are you? Like, I don't understand what I'm watching right now. And what did this have anything to do with the rest of the plot? Highly recommend watching it. It is a really good story. The story plays out exactly how you think it's going to play out. Like, there is no surprise to it. I don't think so, at least. But the beginning and the ending of this movie were so fucking weird that I was like, I still don't understand it. I still don't understand this, why this was in the movie. I don't get it. Now, that being said, me being able to predict that, I just finished the series 1899 on Netflix.
Okay.
So 1899 is a brand new series set in 1899, which was created by the same people that did the series Dark.
Okay, yeah.
So you already know, if you know anything about the series Dark, that it is going to be an absolute bonkers plot. This was the most bonkers plot I have ever gone through, ever. Like, every episode, I was just like, I don't know what's going to happen. I also don't know what is happening, and I'm still unsure of what has happened, but I love where we're going. Like, give me more. And like, by the time I ended the series, it was one of those, or ended the season 1, I was like, okay, awesome. Like, great. What? But awesome. So very excited about that one, which also has a pyramid in it. Very reminiscent of Somnium. There's a character that carries around a black pyramid.
Interesting. I want to, because Dark was a German film or series, right? German, like, horror sci-fi.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. And I was meant to get around to watching that, and I didn't. And like, people told me like it's really good. And now between that and this, like, add more things that I need to watch when we renew Netflix eventually.
When you renew Netflix. The crazy thing about 1899 is that there's like 7 languages spoken very frequently throughout the film, because there's a lot of different characters. There's a bunch of people. They're on a ship going from Europe to America. So you get a lot of different nationalities, but they're all like sort of mainish characters. So there's like French, Spanish, Portuguese, Mandarin, English, German, and Dutch. That is spoken frequently throughout all of the film. And what I loved about it is that there is a lot of moments where you have the chain of like interpretation. So like, one of the characters will say something in English, and then the person in Spanish will be like, what the fuck did she just say? And then someone will say it to the French person, who will say it to the Spanish person, who will say, like, you see that happen. And then like, eventually it gets down to like the Mandarin person, and you see that sort of chain. And it's really great, because in the very last episode, there's like 5 of them left, and they're all, or not left, but like in a room, and they're all like talking, and they're like, one person will say something, and the French person will be like, what the fuck did she just say? And then the Portuguese person would be like, what did he just say? And then the Mandarin person would be like, what is anyone saying? And I think it was really great. It was like, but it wasn't like comic, but at the same time, I was like, this is exactly what would happen, and they never do this in movies or series. Normally, everybody just sort of knows what they're saying, but it was really great, because they were like, what is anybody saying? We all speak different languages. I don't know what the fuck's going on. It was really cool, but like, minor plot point there, but it was really cool.
That is great.
And I liked it. Great series, highly recommend.
And yeah, like the photos and trailer and whatnot that you can find on IMDb, at least, because I'm not digging too much in lest spoilers abound. Like, they don't give away much, but like, the visual style is really good. So like,
it is really good. And this is my pun. It was a little dark.
Oh.
No, but truthfully, there were a few scenes where I was like, can somebody turn on a light? Yeah. Like, what the fuck is happening right now? Like, it is a little dark right now.
I find it interesting when you have cinema like this that like is set in a time period where like electricity wasn't ubiquitous, and you have scenes that are dark, and they don't overdo on the set lighting, which like they have the ability to make the scene perfectly light if they wanted to, but sometimes it plays correctly for it to be like really dark and hard to see. It can be frustrating for the audience, but like sometimes it's the right move. And like, you got to be
historically accurate.
You got to be careful with how you do that, but done right, like it can be really powerful.
Yeah. And speaking of powerful, we have a brand new episode coming up this Sunday. This is my transition. It was good. So for those of you watching on YouTube, hey, hit that subscribe button and follow the link over to our full episodes on your podcast player of choice. There's a link down below that will give you an option to choose whatever podcast player you listen to podcasts on. But our full episode this coming Sunday, we're reviewing the movie On the Count of Three, which is a Hulu original that stars Gerard Carmichael and directed by Gerard Carmichael. He's a comedian. You've probably seen or heard his stand-up. He did also have a show on CBS for a while, which I didn't watch, but I heard was pretty funny, but it got canceled after like 2 seasons. So maybe it wasn't that funny. I don't know. But it had a good cast. But yeah, so check out that movie. If you're the type of person that watches movies before we review them, that is your opportunity to do that. We will give an upfront kind of content warning. That movie does deal heavily with suicide. So if that is something that is not your cup of tea, if that's something you as a person can't handle the heavy emotional talk about that, this is probably the episode to skip. But otherwise, if those sort of things don't bother you, it's available streaming on Hulu. You can go ahead and give it a watch and then listen to our full review this coming Sunday, which I can say that accurately.
Yeah, we're finally caught up.
Unlike all of November, which was all over the place because life happens, man. And we do episodes out of order. And that's how podcasting works.
You know what? We got there eventually, though.
We did. And we took the long way around, as the doctor would say.
Yes.
So there it is. Thanks a lot for listening and watching, everyone. We super appreciate it. Again, hit that subscribe button on whatever platform it is that you're listening to us on. We would super appreciate it. And as always, make sure to share with 100,000 of your closest friendly TV watching people.
And then organize a watch party and watch some of these great films and series together. And then everybody at the end hits subscribe on the Never Heard of It podcast, and everybody wins.
This is a win-win situation for everybody.
100%.
That's all I'm saying. 100%. All right, thanks a lot for watching and listening, and we will see you on Sunday.